Imagine being able to wholesale houses in another state without ever seeing the properties in person. That means you could live in Arizona and wholesale a house in Indianapolis, or live in Oceanside, California and wholesale a house in Charlotte, North Carolina. Or maybe you live in Illinois and you're not too crazy about the new laws requiring wholesalers to get licensed and you want to find a more wholesaler-friendly state. Known as virtual wholesaling, you can wholesale houses from your kitchen table in your pajamas remotely in another market. Now, if that sounds like something you'd like to learn, then join me on this part 2 video of our virtual wholesaling series, where I'm gonna break down step by step how to find the deals, analyze them, make the offers, and get the contracts with sellers, all virtually without ever having to see the properties in person. All of that and more coming up.
For a limited time, you can get a free copy of Jerry Norton's Quick Start Kit with everything you need to flip your first house in 30 days or less. Download it now at myquickstartkit.com.
If you're new here to the channel, I'm Jerry Norton with FlippingMastery.com, and this channel is all about ways to help you make money wholesaling and flipping real estate so you can live your dream life. Be sure to subscribe and turn on the bell notifications so you don't miss new videos. Recently, I did a video series where, as the viewer, you got to look over my shoulder and watch me virtually wholesale a house in Indianapolis from my office where I live in Arizona. Now, everyone loved the hands-on explanation and to see a real deal in action. By the way, if you missed that video series, I'll put a link to it in the description box below and you can watch it later. Because I live in Arizona and I did that deal in Indianapolis, the video series sparked a ton of interest in how to wholesale houses virtually, which is why I put together this video series. Now, my goal is to reveal my entire virtual wholesaling playbook, so pay close attention. In video part 1, I talked about how virtual wholesaling has given me my dream lifestyle. I covered the 5 reasons why virtual wholesaling would be a good fit for you, and 4 tips for choosing a remote market. Now, if you missed that video, I'll put the link in the description below. On this part 2 video, I'm gonna show you how to get the contracts with the sellers. Now, specifically, how to find the deals, analyze them, and make the offers, and do it all virtually. But I do wanna caution you that this is my specific method, and I'll be sharing my tools that I've built that have worked extremely well for me and my most successful clients. So you won't see this anywhere else. Now, we'll get into the specifics in a minute, but first I wanna make sure that you're clear on the big picture. Now, my strategy with wholesaling houses virtually is to build as you go rather than have everything built first before starting. Let me explain. When you first start out, or if you're in a brand new market, first focus on getting a deal and don't put any focus on finding a cash buyer or building a cash buyer list yet. We'll do that later once we get a deal. Let me say that again. After you get an executed contract with a motivated seller, then find the buyer. Now, I know this may sound a little scary to some to get a contract without having a buyer already or a buyer's list, and that isn't what the gurus teach, and I get a lot of flack for it, but I don't care. I need you to trust me. If and when you get a good deal, finding a buyer is the easy part, especially following my methods. So don't worry about the buyer right now and put all of your focus in the beginning on finding good deals. So the very first thing I want you to start doing in your remote market is farming for leads. Now, I personally believe that in order to find enough leads to consistently do deals every month, you need to cast a wide net. That means you need to pursue multiple lead sources. I like to use fishing as an analogy. If you go fishing and you have one line in the water, maybe you'll catch a fish. Now imagine having multiple lines in the water. I recently went deep sea fishing in Mexico, and that's exactly what happened. The fishing guide set up dozens of fishing poles with dozens of lines in the water. As a result, we caught a ton of fish. The same is true for deal finding. However, I realized in the beginning, maybe you can't charter a deep sea fishing trip with a guide, and maybe you can't get dozens of lines in the water when you first start out. You might need to start with a single fishing pole and head down to the lake. If that's you, then let me show you how to get your first line in the water and then how to use it to quickly catch a fish. And then later in this video, I'm going to show you how to get multiple lines in the water so you can catch multiple fish. So keep watching. I want to share with you 3 different deal finding tools that I've developed that will allow you to go from zero, nothing, zip, zilch, nada to instantly having dozens and hundreds of leads. Now, I built these tools first for my own business, then I offer them to my elite mentoring students, and then I made them available to anyone at a super reasonable price. Now these are just a few of the tools that are part of my house flipping deal management system called FLIPSTER. So yes, what I'm about to share with you are my proprietary tools that I market and sell, but I don't know any other way to show you the most effective ways to find and wholesale deals virtually. Later, I'll share with you how to get access to these tools if you're interested. The first tool is an on-market tool that we call MLS Finder that finds all of the underpriced homes listed for sale with real estate agents. Okay, now all you do is create a campaign per zip code in your virtual market, and the tool generates a list of all of the active homes for sale that are below the current average sold price for that particular zip code. Now at this point, you'll have a list of leads that you can pursue. So you'll need to identify which leads are worth pursuing, analyze them to determine your offer price, then make offers, which we'll cover here in just a minute. But for now, just know that this tool instantly gives you on-market leads. What's cool about this tool is once you have access to it, you can create as many campaigns as you want, and other than your monthly subscription to the platform, there is no ongoing cost per lead. Now, if you have any questions on how to wholesale on-market properties with real estate agents, two things. One, yes, you can wholesale on market, same as off market. And two, I have dozens of videos explaining how to do it. Now I'll put a few links in the description box below and you can watch them later. The second deal finder tool is my Craigslist deal finder. Now with this tool, you also set up campaigns and the tool scrapes Craigslist in your virtual market, and using specific keywords, it identifies all of the motivated seller leads posted on Craigslist. Now I've even built into the tool automated responses so you can quickly respond to the post you're interested in pursuing. And just like the MLS Finder tool, you can create as many campaigns as you want, and there is no ongoing cost per lead to use the tool. And the third tool that I want to show you is the Motivated Seller Finder tool. This tool is specific private seller data for lead types such as absentee owners, out-of-state owners, and pre-foreclosure. Now we acquire these leads real time at a big discount and then provide them to you. Now there is a cost for us to acquire this data, but it's way cheaper than if you were to buy it independently, and we give you from $100 to $400 per month, depending on your subscription level. Now if you want more leads, we get it to you at our cost. This tool has a map feature, it shows the equity and other info, and it even has phone numbers and email for many of the leads. So these three deal finding tools are just a few of the dozens of tools that come included with my deal management system called FLIPSTER. And if you've never heard of FLIPSTER, it's a cloud-based, all-inclusive wholesaling and house flipping management system to help you organize, streamline, and automate all of the steps of flipping houses, especially finding deals. To learn more and see it in action, just go to getflipster.com. Okay, so with these three deal finding tools, you'll have more than enough leads to go after in your virtual market. Once you've identified a lead, step 2 is to analyze the deal to determine the offer price. Now, this is the price you need to acquire the contract for that will allow you to wholesale it to another investor for a profit, which we're gonna cover in a minute, so keep watching. In order to calculate the offer price, you need to run the wholesaling buy formula. And to do this, use the Deal Analyzer tool inside FLIPSTER. It has a built-in algorithm for running the buy formula, but in order to get an accurate offer price that you can feel confident about, there are two variables that you need to figure out on each and every deal. The first is the after repair value, or ARV. Now this is what the home is worth fixed up. This is the value or price a cash buyer fix and flipper will sell it for. Now it's the first number that you need to know, and without it you can't wholesale houses, and my Deal Analyzer tool inside FLIPSTER has a built-in algorithm for calculating the ARV, but it's a ballpark number based on the zip code. In order to get a more accurate ARV, you need to look at recently sold homes in the immediate area that are similar to the subject property. I recommend 5 to 6 relevant comps and then take the average to determine the ARV. Now you don't need a real estate agent to provide comps for you unless you're in a non-disclosure state, in which case sales information is considered private information. Now don't ask me if your state is a non-disclosure state. There are like 14, I think, so Google it. Now, assuming your virtual market is not a non-disclosure state, you can actually determine the ARV virtually right on your computer using a public site such as Zillow or Redfin, and I'll put some links to videos in the description below where I show tutorials about how to do it using real deals. The second variable that's essential in order to determine the offer price on a deal is the cost of repairs. Now, my Deal Analyzer inside FLIPSTER has a built-in algorithm for repairs that takes into consideration the size of the home and the level of rehab needed. But if you want a more precise rehab number, you'll need to break down each item of the house that needs fixed. To do that, use my rehab estimator tool that has the unit cost for each item of a rehab. You just need to figure out the quantities, plug them into the tool, and it will tally up the total repair cost. So how do you estimate the repair cost without physically walking the property? Now, first of all, with the rehab estimator tool, all we really need is a good set of pictures of the exterior and the interior. So when that's needed, what I do is hire a freelance photographer from Craigslist for like $25 to go to the property and take about 200 pictures as well as video, and then email them to me in a photo sharing link such as Dropbox or Google Drive. Once I have sufficient pictures, I can use the rehab estimator to determine the rehab number. Quick pro tip here, I don't want to spend $25 on every lead I analyze because that will start to add up, so I usually use the built-in algorithm that the deal analyzer gives me to make my offer to the seller, and then once I have an executed contract with the seller, I'll include a 10-day inspection contingency, and then I'll send my photographer to verify my rehab number to make sure it's accurate. Now, if it's not, I'll renegotiate with the seller or I'll terminate the contract. So once I've confirmed the ARV and repairs and I've added in my desired wholesale fee, the deal analyzer will give me my buy price. And once I know my buy price, it's time for step 3, which is to make the offer. If the property is on market, there is a real estate agent representing the seller. And yes, I already said this, but I'll say it again. You can wholesale on-market properties listed for sale with real estate agents just the same as you do with private off-market deals. Just because there's an agent doesn't change how you assign a contract. The only difference is you work with the agent to get the contract with the seller. Once you've done that, you find and assign your contract to a cash buyer, same as you do with off-market deals. Remember, since the property is listed for sale with an agent, you can't contact the seller directly and you have to go through the real estate agent representing the seller. Follow my double dip strategy where you call up the listing agent directly and you tell them you're unrepresented and you're interested in making an offer on their property. This is a really cool technique, and I have an entire video dedicated to how to work with agents and even how to get them to call you with their best deals before they've even listed them for sale. Now, I'll put a link to that video in the description box below and you can watch it later. Now, the nice thing about on market is the agent will handle all of the paperwork between you and the seller and help you execute a purchase and sale agreement. In order to make the offer, find the listing agent's contact right on the listing. Make sure you only call the actual listing agent and not one of the advertising agents. The goal is to work directly with the listing agent representing the seller and not use a buyer's agent. If the property is off market, you'll be talking and negotiating directly with the seller. Now, I did a video where I shared the perfect motivated seller script. I'll put a link to that video in the description box below and you can watch it later. Once you've come to an agreement on price, you'll need the paperwork to execute the contract with the seller. Use the Offer Generator Pro tool inside FLIPSTER. It walks you through how to fill it out, and then you email it directly to the seller where he can digitally sign it right on his computer or smartphone. And you, my friend, just got a contract with a seller virtually without having to see the property in person. Now, all of the tools I showed you are included with an active subscription to my FLIPSTER deal management software. But as you know, getting the contract with the seller is only half the process to wholesaling. The second half is finding and flipping the contract to a cash buyer. But like I said earlier, between finding a deal and finding a buyer, finding a deal makes up like 90% of the work, effort, and energy. The other 10% of effort is finding the buyer. So put your focus in finding the deal first. Now, stay tuned for part 3 where I'm gonna break down how to find a cash buyer once you have a deal and how to build your cash buyer list as you go. Very exciting stuff, and hopefully this will make it all full circle and it all makes sense. So for those of you watching this that are really serious about virtually wholesaling, watch the reference videos in the description and check out FLIPSTER. And if you'd like to consider mentoring and partnering with me on deals, go to fasttrackwithjerry.com to learn more. And do me a favor, show some love, hit that like button right now, leave a comment, let me know your biggest takeaway from this video and if you plan on wholesaling virtually. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm dedicated to helping you make more money in less time wholesaling and flipping houses so you can live your dream life, and I'll see you on the next video.